10 seconds.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the View from the Dead Box. We had to do another restart because Mike farted in the first one.
I totally did, and I was like, it might have went through the mic, so
we're good.
We're good now. We can roll with this.
So you can continue drinking your Mike's Hard lemonade over there.
I will. It's good. I haven't had one of these in a while.
I'm drinking like 3-week-old Gatorade that were left in the event cooler.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yummy.
Yum. Speaking of the event cooler, so I hadn't used my cooler since I went camping.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. I literally just I opened, I was like, cool, there's a bunch of waters. There were some beers thrown on the bottom, and I was like, people might drink those at the end of the day. Well, there was also like mini Cokes. I don't know who drank them, but there was like 3 of them in there. There was one left. I opened it. I have never had a soda that flat, and I'm thinking it's because it's literally rolled around in that cooler for God fucking a month now. And I'm like, this soda has traveled the world. Like a trip to Florida, back and forth to work every day, North Carolina, Middle Georgia. I'm like, this soda's seen more than some people ever see.
Yep. More miles on it for sure.
Right. So what were you doing tonight?
Nothing. I just left the golf course. Came back. We try to play every Thursday. Just getting back into it a little bit. So we play right after work and try to do at least a 9. Sometimes we can do an 18 depending on how many are with us, but if we're doing like 3s or something, then we'll just do like the front 9 or back 9 at Black Creek, or we'll do the par 3 course at Pooler. So
never done that par 3. I always wanted to.
It's super fun, and it's like pretty cheap. It's like $20 all you can play. So cause if you go up there and play at night with like you and a buddy or two, you can really honestly play like 27 holes. So you can run the course 3 times and not be out of light.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, it's a really fun course too. So definitely something different to play, than what we typically play, right?
Oh yeah. It's funny. I think I golf like twice a year. It's like one of those sports that I know I'm never gonna get better at.
Yeah.
Because I literally golf July 4th and New Year's Eve. Those are 2 days a year I golf. Like damn near exactly 6 months apart from each other. And I'm like, by the time when I leave, I'm
with
so
your cousin, right?
With my cousin, yep.
Yeah.
When I leave, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the driving range next couple weeks. I'm gonna do it, and then like a week later, I'm like, no, that was a big fucking lie. I was like, I just want to smoke my cigar and drive around drunk on the golf cart. I was like, because this works out well for me.
Yeah.
But
I always think paintball is expensive, and then I look at golf. I'm like, man, golf's expensive as well if you play at a nice place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And me, you, and Perkins went that one time, and we went to the driving range beforehand. And then we went to two different courses, and one we couldn't get in. We didn't have tee time. Yeah. And then we ended up getting rained out halfway through, I think.
Yep.
But I think that's the only time I've ever golfed with you. I've golfed with some of the other teammates before, but most of us are good. So it's like
the clown show Gordon over there. You play with him on Lost Plantation, which is
Lost Plantation with Gordon.
That place is like AIDS.
See, I actually don't mind Lost Plantation. It's not.
Never heard one person ever say a place is nice. The greens are like mud pits. Like you can't. If it rains 3 weeks prior, one day you can't go there because it's a fucking marsh.
It's a big swamp.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, we can squeeze a golf course in here, kind of, sort of."
No.
That's fine.
Enough about golf.
We'll go back to the other expensive sport.
Yes.
If we cover other sports on here like that, every sport, I would even throw in /hobby that we cover is fucking expensive.
Yep.
Since we're here. I mean, it's golf, paintball, shooting, long range shooting. I mean, we've done racing, the side-by-sides, the four-wheelers, car racing, all of it. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I happen to be in all of them.
Whew, yeah. It's ridiculous. But it is. We live in money pits. Well, that's what credit cards are for, right?
Yeah.
So what you think of this last weekend tournament, CPSL, and we were at Rock Hill?
Rock Hill, Shitfield.
Yeah, I am not impressed. Never have been.
It used to be the GOAT back in the day. I remember playing that event at that place. a CFOA or two. And I'm pretty sure I played a PSP there. I think it was MAO.
I think MAO used to be held there.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that's the MAO that Aftermath got their fucking shit pushed in at. And then we played the GFOA, and Aftermath showed up at the GFOA because they got fucking stomped out.
Oh, okay.
And we fucking beat them there too. Yeah, it's like the Aftermath, which is at the time was Zach Wake, Zach Long, Tyler Harmon. I think it was Tyler Harmon. Pretty sure.
Alex Goldman, maybe.
Alex Goldman was 100% there.
Yeah.
Fuck. Who else? Zach Long, for sure. Alex Goldman.
I would look that up on FPBA, but that has been purged.
It's too low.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was our first like good Aftermath roster they had. Maybe I want to say maybe J-Rap too. Can't really remember. But anyways, yeah, they showed up to a local GFOA event and did not win.
Yeah.
That tells you how that goes.
That was just a shit weekend for them.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like,
but they after playing with them and that weekend, I noticed they started my Lux train because they had Luxes and nobody else had them. And we were all shooting at the time. I want to say DM7s or 9s, DM7s, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was 2007 or 2008.
Yeah, 2007, 2008. When we were shooting DM7s, we were sponsored by Dye at the time. But anyways, they were shooting these guns and they were like super quiet, super accurate. And I'm like, you couldn't even hear them shooting. And I'm like, Jesus, man, these guys are a fucking laser beam. And I'm like standing behind these guys watching them play. And these guns are just like a legit laser beam. I'm like, what are these things? And it was Goldman at the time. And he looked a little skinny little bitch. And I was like, can I shoot this thing? And he's like, yeah. And when I shot it, and it was like literally like shooting pillows. Like, I'm like, this thing is fucking amazing. And they couldn't buy it at the time. And we went to Cup that year, and they were just releasing them like to everybody, and they were like becoming more and more readily available. And I remember Powell taking a look at them at Cup. It was all the way at the very end of the aisle, and they had a little itty bitty booth. And Eric did all this research in this company. He was like looking at the like who they were made by, and he was like trying to figure it out. And then he like was doing a little more research, and he at the time, I think he's an engineer of some sort, and I know there's a billion different engineers, but I think he was just graduating. I don't want to say mechanical engineer, but one of the engineers, and the guy pulled the bolt out of the gun and then took it all apart in like 5 seconds. And that like intrigued Eric like to no end. He like looked at it and was like, wow. He's like, and then looked at it, put it together, took it apart, put it together, took it apart. We're looking at the eye covers like, wow, this is like from mechanical engineering, like a mechanical side is like, this is like amazing. And that right there sold me. I looked at it. I'm like, man, that is great. I need to get one of those fucking things. And then I've been with them ever since, really. And up till now, shooting the Geos a little bit, but I might be going back to a Lux. The Geo shoots really good. It does shoot amazing. I cannot get used to the shot. Like I am off. Like I see the guy across field, like, and I'm shooting, and I'm just a little bit low every single time. It shoots a little bit different than the trajectory of the Luxes in general. And it's not that it's smoother or kickier or anything. It's just like the ball is a little bit different, and I'm undershooting everything. So like my drop shots and like they're a little bit off. And granted, I haven't grinded with this gun enough to really know every single thing about it, But we'll see.
I think you would have to shoot it for a full season. You know what I mean? Like
usually, I can pick up any gun and then go run points with it. And I'm like, okay, cool, I like it. Because I do like the shot of the gun. I love it, but I just cannot get used to the first snapshot of the gun is a little bit off.
You're back. We can just keep rolling. I will cut. I mean, you're talking about the Geo shot trajectory. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
I noticed your camera went out like 2 minutes ago, and then
the program just closed out. Like it froze.
Weird.
So,
but yeah, so
I think it's the ergo maybe of the gun that I've played with the Lux for so long that I'm just so used to the ergonomics of it.
Yeah.
So I naturally hold it and snap it up correctly.
That's how I felt when I picked that one up and used. I was like, granted, the ergos on the 4s are different than most guns. They're not bad, and they're definitely different. But like, a Lux to me is similar to that Geo. Like I don't want to say I feel uncomfortable shooting the Force, but it still doesn't feel as natural as I'm used to, I guess. But like I feel like the Lux I can pick up, and I point a Lux good. I pick up a Geo, I point it pretty good because again, like I said, those guns to me point just very similar.
Yeah.
But if I picked up again, maybe it's a Bob Long thing. I always felt like my G6R never pointed well. So I don't know. That's just me. We'll see. We'll see what gun you have next week.
Yeah.
I can never know. You've turned into the little gun whore. The little gun whore.
I mean, I have my old trusty rusty Ice that she's been kicking.
Yeah.
I've had so many guys reach out. Man, you want to sell that Ice? You know, let me know. I'm like, nah. I was like, I'm gonna keep running with it here.
That's fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
I like that one too. It looks
yeah.
For being beat up, it looks good. Like a good beat up.
Yes.
Like what is it in CS:GO when you get the skins and they could be like different levels of degraded or like in minty.
Yes.
It's kind of like it's not like bottom barrel, but it's not top, and it's like maybe slightly above middle, if you know what I'm talking about, like battle worn, just enough.
Patina.
Patina, yeah. So let's cover our CPSL event this weekend. It was a little different.
It was
like
very
a good different.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all.
I think the two of us together played a combined 15 points.
Oh, maybe. It's just so weird to me.
Yeah, you didn't play anything. So
I didn't play anything until
the third prelim match.
Yeah, and then I
played two.
The fourth, and then the fourth I did fine. Like my thing is we had a couple newer guys that play with us, and I kind of want to see how they fit on the roster. So I was giving guys spins, and we like 4-0'd the first team. I think we 4-0'd the second team. So I'm like I'm gonna let him ride. I'm gonna let him ride. Like I don't have to play. You know, granted, I need to be out there when it comes time to fucking really play.
Yeah.
But if our dudes are 4-0 people getting spins, I'm gonna let them just fucking ride it up, because sometimes there's guys on our roster who don't get a lot of spins. You know, because if we're running the main five, I'm gonna be out there. But if we're like 4-0 people, and our guys everybody can get more spins in, I have no problem sitting. And I also want I kind of do it like to show everybody else is like, listen, you don't always need to play. There might be some events where you don't play many points. Yeah. If a team's clicking and they're 4-0 people, you might just need to ride the pine. Like this is how it works. I'm sorry for you.
It sucks, but it was. I kept looking at you, and I'm like, they're winning. Like I should have pulled it up. I know we 4-0'd. Let me get it right here.
I think it went 4-0, 4-0, 1-5, 4-1. Pretty sure.
I think the last one was a 4-0 also, Wes. I think we 4-0'd.
Really?
I think we 4-0'd 3 teams. Let me see here.
Very possible. I thought we gave up a point at last team.
Well, we ended up taking 7th overall. Like in general, we played very well. Like really and truly. So yes, we played the first game of the day was against Bush Hogs Black. We 4-0'd them.
And then Razorbacks.
Then the second game was the Raleigh Razorbacks. We 4-0'd them. The second game was against the Records. They 5-1 us. And then we played Carolina Static, and we 4-0'd them as well. So
shit, that's right.
We dropped 4 points, or 5 points, I'm sorry, the entire prelims. Like, that is really good. You know what I mean? Really good playing 14. I mean, granted, it was one team we lost to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's...
And I think we played Nomads. We didn't get the bye. We missed the bye, barely. Yeah. And we played Nomads, I believe.
Nomads and Ochos.
And the Ochos, and beat them. Then we drew one of the... I can never remember all the fucking clutch teams. It was like...
This was clutch teal.
Yeah, it's like 100 fucking clutch teams every time I turn around, so I can never remember which one you play. Yeah. But played them, and I don't even know what was wrong. I feel like the communication was a breakup in between the middle of the field was not getting the relays back and forth. I think maybe.
Yeah.
And just trying to think of what really happened.
Well, it was we knew what was killing us. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was that snake player. We knew that. I would say by the first point we realized he because we knew no one else had been pushing it like they were, I guess.
Yeah.
But we knew nobody could see it. Like that was, we figured that out. The game we lost 5-1, we were all dying because of the guy would literally get in the snake, crawl down, hop up there, and he could shoot 2-3 people. And there was the only way to counter that I can figure out, and I think this is the only way to counter it still, is literally you have to get your snake guy and just
once he goes in there, you just dunk him every time.
Yeah, that was it. And our snake players tried. I mean, I don't want to say anybody played bad by any means. It's one of, like, we talked about this, the MVPS at the beginning of the year, where we played very well all day. It didn't go through.
Yeah.
We played better, in my opinion, at that MVPS, but we played very good this past weekend, except right there at the end of the day. Like, we just couldn't figure out how to stop that. Because he would get up in there and he would poke his head up and he would shoot Shane and Jamie. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. So he was getting 2 kills, and we knew, hey, the only way you could have countered it from Shane's perspective would have been at that brick, and he would just had to sit there and shoot. You know what I mean? Just because the dude would wrap the Viper and shoot inside. That's the only way he could have done that. But granted, it's one of those things. He's shooting. He stops to reload for 2 seconds. The dude pops and then kills. You know what I mean? So it's like,
well, our main thing really is we had good shooting on the break all day.
Yeah.
And then to the end, I don't know if the guys got worn. No, I won't say worn because everybody seemed fine. But the shots faded away. Like, we were never able to shoot the snake player on the break ever again. It just never happened. I'm like, so I went out there the next day on D5, and I'm like, let me look, because they said you can't shoot the snake on the break. And I'm looking at this gap, and it looks like a decent gap. I'm like,
was it by the death stick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to shoot, but I didn't shoot it.
Yeah,
I only
there's a gap on the left side of it and the right side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably shoot the one on the left because it's still a hard run. And I'm like, why are we, like, in my head, I'm just thinking, like, the next day when I walked the field for the D5 guys, I'm like, why is nobody shooting this lane right here?
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Whoever was staying, that was when I told someone to shoot snake side, that's where they were supposed to have been shooting. Because that's the lane I would have shot myself if I had been out there. So
yeah. I think Shane was the main snake side shooter because he would go to the brick and then lock the snake typically. That was his job. So I know Jamie was kind of on an island by himself shooting the Ruta side.
Yep.
And then if I played, I would run and gun out to the Ruta side.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. I guess I kept running into fucking Truesdale on the break. Like,
let's talk about that.
God. Like, when I watch Truesdale play and he's like going to the 100 and diving, he looks pretty quick. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm lining up to run and gun to the alpha, and I am like coming off the box. He says the first point, he slipped. So I am literally bumping into him. I bumped into him like 4 times running a gun to the alpha. And I'm like, go, motherfucker, go. So the second point, I come off the box. I guess I had a quick reaction, came up quick, and then I got out in front of him. Then he ran by me and then hit all my pod straps and knocks them all out of my fucking pack. I'm like, I slide up and I'm shooting the wire and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, fuck, man. And I'm like, tell him, I'm like, hey, man, I only got like 1 pod left. Like, all my paint's on the fucking ground. I'm like, God damn, dude.
So from my perspective, it reminded me of like Hansel and Gretel when they leave their breadcrumbs to get back home.
Yeah, you see the line
going. It was. I see you, like, you line up however the fuck you're lining up, and like I see y'all bump, and I saw 1 pod fall, and I was like, okay, that sucks, but you know what I mean? No big deal. He's still got 3. Like, his gun can probably shoot the loader and the 3 pods. Like, that's what's still, because I saw it fall, and then he like moved, and I saw the other one fall, and I'm like, okay, now it's a little bit of an issue. So, and then as you move again, and that one fell. Yeah. Or you dove in and that one broke open. So you had the 1 more, and then like you played for a second, reloaded, and then went. And I was like, that fucking sucks.
Well, I told him, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the 200. I'm like, I'm just gonna dive into the 200. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I'm like, this is.
I think that was against Nomads too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, so all in all, how do you feel about what we did?
I think it was really good. I think I've seen it now. Sitting back those points, I got to see how a lot of players played in different roles.
Yeah.
In different spots, they played well. I do think that we're gonna have to stick a fork in Shane's ass and get him to talk, because he's got too relaxed and he's not talking. Because Jamie, on a couple points, I seen him screaming for help. And I'm like, I want to be out there. I'm like, fuck me, man. He is screaming for help. And Shane's just like locked in and won't talk to him. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man. I definitely feel like that was a big problem for communication across the field. And not being able to adapt to how the game plans. Like if it fell apart, it's like they're not reacting to counter the moves, right? It's like was it Nomads? It was Nomads, and that 3-on-1 I had, that was Nomads, right? In the fun, yeah. It's like we lost the Snake side, and it's like me and Daniel. He's in the 100, and I'm in the Alpha, and I look over and I'm like, well, fuck, I got to figure out something here. Like they're in the Viper, the Brick, the 200, and home. And I think I might have shot the home before I left, but I know that he's in Viper. He's about to fuck us. I'm like that's about to happen. And I backtrack from the Alpha to home, shoot like 2 balls at the Snake to plug in for a second, go from home to the fire, and then I like sit for a second, and then I sneak to the Snake corner with him alive. And I know I'll give it like 3 seconds. I know this Viper is going to be wrapping the Viper. And I lean out on the wire, and he is like 57 foot off the bunker, and I just fucking torch this dude. And you should see the look in his eyes when he looks over, and I'm like around the bunker. And the last time he's seen me was going to the home. And then I pop up next to him. I'm in the wire with him. I'm like, hey, what's up, buddy?
He's probably pissed at his fucking team. He's like, nobody saw this motherfucker. He's like, I'm not going to see him. My head's in the ground shooting people.
Yeah.
How do y'all not see him run across the field?
Dude, I like, there's a guy in the 200 at this point and a guy in the Brick. And I look over. And Daniel already left, so it was the 1-3. So I think our Snake guy shot Daniel out of the 200.
Yeah.
And that's when I went to the corner, wrapped it, shot him. And I loaded in my head as I'm loading the Snake. I'm like, this is going to be a really good move or a really bad move. And I'm like, but I have to. They're not going to. I wouldn't think in my head. This is how I played it. I don't think they'll expect me to load the Snake when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So I load it, went straight, crawl right to the Viper, and I get on the outside and I wait. I'm like, whew, and I come out lean, and the dude's running from the Brick straight over to the Seattle and the wide open. And when I say I started shooting this dude from like the bottom of the feet to the top of his fucking head, I'm like literally beamed. I'm like up his whole fucking body. And I run down, get to the end of the Snake 1, see the guy, we shoot a little bit, and then in my head, I'm like, he is still in the 200. I'm like, why is this guy in the... Then he moved to the 300, and I'm like, oh, it's a race now. So then I get into my God, and then I move to his fire, and I'm like, okay, and he's still sitting 300, so I shoot a little bit left and right, put him in, and I'm like, I think I can jump to the home and then hit this buzzer before he even fucking thinks about shooting me. So I beam both sides of his shit, dip to the home, lean over, hit the buzzer, and then as I'm hitting it, I turn around, he just rips me in the back. I'm like, I turn around, look at him, I'm like, bruh. And the ref just gives me 2 thumbs up. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm clean. And just jogged off the field. I'm like,
when I watched that, I almost, when Daniel died, I almost threw the towel because I couldn't see the Snake guy. And then I saw you load the Snake, and I said, I'm gonna assume that means he killed the Snake guy. Like that's what I went with. I was like,
I'm just gonna get in here.
I was like, I'll give him the 2-on-1. I wasn't gonna give you the 3-on-1. I was like, we need to save time because that game did go into overtime.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I saw you load it, I was like, and then I saw the dude pop up, he was popped up. He was like leaving at that point in time, and I'm like, oh, he killed the Snake guy, and then. The 2-on-1, I was like, oh, Wes is in a good spot, actually, where these guys are on the field. I'm going to let this fucking thing play out. And then, like you said, you hosed the fucking Seattle. And then I was like, all right, well, he's got his 1-on-1. I was like, I'm fully confident in him. I'm really confident in any one of our players in a 1-on-1, honestly. Yeah. I'm like, there's enough paintball knowledge when we're out there that unless the dude is just better, like, our guys have a good chance of winning this.
Yeah.
But, so
I was almost going to gunfight that guy.
I know. I thought you were actually, when you shot the Seattle, I was like, he's either going to worry about playing for our buzzer or he's going to worry about cutting that guy off from our...
I thought about going over the Snake right into the Seattle and then go to the Brick and try to cut him. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, all right, what's the best way to like eliminate this guy's space and then get in his face? And then I kind of shot at him and he looked a little bit timid. Like he backed down and I was just shooting both sides of his bunker, just kind of containing for a second. And I'm like, fuck this. I'll just push it to him and see how he wants to play it. You know.
Yeah.
Worked out. Fuck it.
No, it definitely did. I mean, like I said, all in all, we had a pretty good event. We lost to Clutch Steel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think we lost to the Wreckers, even though they did beat us 5-1. I don't think they're the better team.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Those games were a lot closer than a 5-1. Like it wasn't like Clutch. They beat us fair and square.
Fair and square.
Wreckers barely beat us. So how'd the kids do? I say kids. It's really not kids. It's Project X.
Well, they were missing a few of their regulars, and it wasn't a big deal. They played really good the first match, and then got into a spot where they burnt a little bit of extra time, and we let it burn a little bit, and then we towed it, and then they were up by 1, and then we came back and steamrolled them, and then we were tied, and then we had 36 seconds or 46 seconds. No. We had it right at like 56 seconds, like right at a minute, and we load, and I was trying to throw out in the Doritos because Hunter, the kid, can play the snake side just well, and Hayden seemed to be doing well on the snake. Well, Courtney is behind Stro, trying to fucking push him down the Dorito side as fast as she can, because she knows the time's up, like time's close, right? So they shoot the 100 and the 200, like boom, boom, kill both of them. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's roll. There's nothing holding you up now. I think she shot the 100 on the break, and then he maybe snapped the 200 out, something like that. But they killed both of them pretty quick. I'm like, all right, good. So when that happened, I look over and I'm like trying to figure out how much time. And it's like 35 seconds left. Stroh's in the 300, and she is running down behind him, and she literally runs into him. She's like, let's go. Like, she knows there's a home, there's a brick, and there's a snake or a back left corner. And she's on his ass trying to push him down the field. Well, he at this time, like 20 seconds left, he just goes wide instead of, and this is me, and we talked about it after the event. Like, we came off the field, and he's like, he knew he fucked up. I'm like, why would you not just go to the inside and go missile the fucking brick? Yeah. Boom, clear her. Because they had everybody alive. Their whole team was alive. They were going to, like, if they had 10 more seconds, that was game over. They would win the match. And I'm like, what were you doing? Like, why'd you get out wide? And he's like, well, I had the guys open over here. It's like, yeah, but we're hunting for kills when we should be just running it down their throat because of time, you know? So they tied that match, and they played, I'm not sure who they played the second match.
Carolina Crisis.
Yep. Okay. And I think they fucking 3-0'd them.
3-0 Crisis, yep.
Yeah. They ran them down pretty good. We fixed the problems. We loaded Hayden the snake almost every single point after that. And that was on the left field, which is the good field, the red field. And then they went over to the other field. Now, what happened on the other field, they played decent on the other field. Third match was kind of wonky. Nobody played like outstanding, but the reffing on the far field was fucking horrible. Yeah. Yeah, it was just bad. Hayden got called out. When it's on video, Hayden got called out 2 times with nothing on him at all, and they said they seen it hit him. Now, Hayden's not gonna cheat. Yeah. And he's like, they're like, you're out. He's like, where? And he's like, it's on your arm. He's like, where? What? And I don't like to say that you're playing a home field against a home team or whatever, but that's how it looked. You know what I mean? And he gets in there and he's fucking clean as a whistle, and they call him out. He's like, okay. So he just walks off, and he's talking to me. He's like, dude, they're calling me out. They call me out for nothing. I'm like, calm down, relax. And Hunter walks off, and he's like, they called the same point. He's like, they called me out for nothing. He's like, I don't have anything on me. He's like, I asked for a paint check, and the ref just calls me out. He's like, there's nothing on me. I'm like, all right, that's one point. The next point, they called Hayden out again. Nothing on him. And they called Stro out. He has the lines on his hopper that are like the chameleon. And Scuba Steve is in the pit with us trying to fix the air station. And Stro comes out. He's like, it's fucking reffing. Goddamn bullshit. They fucked us. He's like, they pulled me out for nothing. They pulled Hayden out for nothing. He's like, they're fucking us out here. He's like, this is a fucking bullshit. And he's blowing up. So Steve is like, all right, let me go see what's going on. So Steve walks over there on the snake side and he's watching. Well, Hayden's mom is filming all the points over there. Well, this time the guy loads the Viper. Hayden loads the Viper. I have Stro in the corner behind him now.
Yeah.
And the guy tries to come over the top on Hayden. Stro shoots him. Plain as day. Boom, boom, boom. Blows his kid up. Hayden's seen the guy. He waits like 3 or 4 seconds. And the ref is right there, like checking him. But this kid's covered in paint. He's checking him. And Hayden runs around. And Scuba says that the guy that's guarding his snake shot Hayden. On the camera, you see the snake player who is out blatantly spin and shoot Hayden as he's going by, like boom, 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 boom. And then all hell breaks loose. Amber, who is Hayden's mother,
yeah,
I think that's her name, fucking loses her shit because it's all on camera now.
Yeah.
You know, this is the 3rd time Hayden's been fucked by a call in a row. And she is like, are you out of your fucking mind? She's like blowing. This is the last match, by the way. Yeah. She's like, he got called out 2 times for nothing. You got other players getting called out for nothing. She's like, you are like going out of your way to make awful calls. She's like, Scuba comes over. Scuba, hey man, you gotta get a handle on this. The mom. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, he goes, she literally called me and my entire staff all pieces of shit. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I have not heard this young lady cuss, not once. She comes in the pit. She's like, Wes, I am so sorry. I probably got you a warning. She's like, but these guys aren't doing their fucking job. And I'm like, yikes. I've never heard her talk that way. And she's like, I have it on video. I had to leave. She's like, I cannot be over there anymore. She's like, they are just making fucking bullshit calls. And she is blowing up in the pits. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, I'm right there with you, but I gotta save face here a little bit.
Yeah. So anyways, tie game, right?
Tie.
Nope, sorry. It's 3-2 and 40 seconds, 36 seconds on the clock. I'm like, all right, Stro, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna run through their brick on the break and just dunk both the motherfuckers that are coming up the center. Give them all the extra love. And they're playing against, I think, Carolina Crisis or Clutch or whatever. Yeah. Fuck, who knows? One of the fucking home teams. I'm like, you just have to fucking give it to him. And he's like, okay. And I sent Hunter to the 300 on the break, Hayden to the snake on the break. Everybody made it in alive. And Stro runs up, stops, runs right around the brick. Boom, 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 boom. Shoots this dude right in the back. And the dude spins around and like all the way around and blazes fucking Stro. And the ref runs right in, throws a minor. And in my head, I'm like, that's a major. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, we'll deal with this when it's done. They run down. We shoot a couple more of them. Time runs out. They technically win 3-2. And I'm like, I said, hey, ref, what was that flag for? And he can't talk. He's like, yeah. And the ultimate goes, hey, man, give him a second. He's out of breath. He was just puking 2 minutes ago before the game started. I said, all right, cool, no problem. Catch your breath. I'll talk to you in a minute. And I hold them up. I'm like, hey, I come back. I'm like, hey, ref, was that flag you threw? Was that for the spin and the guy in the brick? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So he spun around and shot my guy in the back, correct? He's like, yes. I'm like, did you mean to throw a minor or was that a major? He's like, no. It was a major. I had the pockets. I had my flags in wrong pockets. I'm like, okay, so it's a major in under 1 minute of time. That's a swing, correct? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, I was just making sure. Well, I go to Scuba and I'm like, hey, man, not that it matters, but they didn't win. They should have a tie. That should be our point, swing point. Like 10 seconds left. We probably won't play the next point. But I just want to give us a tie instead of a loss. He's like, yeah, I got you. So he talks, and they're playing the next point, and they're talking. And he comes back. He's like, hey, Wes, I got to let you know, man, for the amount of detail we have, proof we have to, and they already left the pits. He's like, we're going to give them the win. And I said, you have your ultimate and your ref both saying that they threw a major penalty.
Yeah.
that right there is a spin. I said, and it's a major. Can you agree on that? He's like, if that's what they say. I said, yes. Is it under a minute, Scuba? He's like, yes. I'm like, is under a minute with a major a swing? He's like, yes. I'm like, Scuba, we don't have to do anything else. That's a spin. That's a major. Both your refs agree, including your ultimate. We're done here. That's a point for us. Yeah. Tie. We'll just walk away. So we're like kind of talking about it and going back and forth. And I'm like listening, you know what I mean? And he comes over and he talks to the refs and he comes over. He's like, Wes, you're good to go. We're going to give you the tie. I'm like, all right, cool. Fuck it. We're good to go. Yeah. So the one ref is like, well, does that put you guys through? Did you guys get through? I'm like, oh, no. We definitely don't go through with a 1-1-2. He's like, and in his head, he's like, well, damn, all that arguing for nothing. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, but no, that keeps them out from moving on. They don't move on now. And we get like 5 spots higher or 6 spots higher in the overall ranking. And it's like everybody's like, that's kind of pointless. Well, we didn't drop a spot in the season rankings and we're ahead by like 5 points because I sat there and argued for the tie. Yeah. And the other team didn't move on and they're still below us. I'm like, there you go.
And it's like it's not even arguing the tie. It's arguing what's right. You know what I mean? It's just right. It's the correct call based off what everybody said. Swing point spin under a minute. You had both refs and like one of the tournament directors basically all agreeing. It is what it is. Sorry, homie.
So I talked to Andy. He came up to me and asked a couple things and said the other, and he asked how he could run it better for Saturdays. And I'm like, first of all, I want to get this whole pre-order paint bullshit figured out.
Yeah.
Because having us pre-order a random amount of paint, like I think my team will use 48 cases of paint. That's not fair. Yeah. It's really not. But if you lock me in like everybody else does, go, hey, if you pre-order 10 cases of paint, when you need more, you're still locked in for the prepaid price. He's like, okay, I understand. I'll talk to the field because the field supply the paint. He's like, I'll talk to the fields and see if we can work something out for you. I'm like, cool. He's like, what's your thoughts on getting this to run faster and smoother on Saturdays? I'm like, well, I would run a race to 4, not a mercy 4.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it wouldn't be true X-Ball. I'm like, no, it's still X-Ball. He's like, well, how? I'm like, you can still play 7 fucking points. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Race to 4, you can still play 7 points. You know what I mean? He's like, well, yeah. I said, that would probably help out. And I'm like, and I probably wouldn't give 4 teams buys. I would figure out a way so there's not so many the ochos and the quarters and the semis and the finals. You should probably skip one. Go ochos, semis, finals. Take top 8. I think that's what it should be, right? Maybe.
I'd have to look at it.
I don't know. However it is, top 10. It's probably top 10 maybe with 2 buys. I forget how it is. But anyways, you should be able to skip the fucking ochos or, whatever the worst is, quarters. I don't know. Whatever it is. Yeah, skip around. That'll help out a lot. And you don't give 4 teams buys. That's kind of fucking weird. Unless there's like, 100 teams.
Yeah.
25 teams, you get 4 teams buys. That's a lot. But so I tried it all for a little bit. We'll see how that goes. I
actually thought Saturday went pretty smooth. I mean,
it went better than normal.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is one of the better CPSLs I had ever been to.
Yeah.
I mean, it like as a whole, there's some weird things, but nothing bad, like bad. You know what I mean? I guess.
No, I mean, I think it was good. I didn't have really too many issues out of it. But I would like to get that paint thing figured out.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint with the whole league. But I've said that last season too. I thought it was weird. I don't know. Like you said, there should be a minimum, whether it's 10 or 15 cases. As long as you pre-order 10 to 15, you get locked for the price. If you don't pre-order, then you pay full price. Like that is what it is there. I mean that. Maybe I don't want to say reffing because in general it's good. There's always like small things with the refs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, typically on Dan's field, that's the ultimate with the big blue bounce hat. He's always tip top. No really problem calls. But we had Saturday on that field, we had a Stroh get called out. He's like, you're hit. And then Stroh's like, where? And he's like, player, get out. And he's like, no, where? He's like, I never even got hit with a ball. He's like,
Yeah.
come over here and show me where I'm hit. And Rare comes over, looks at him like 5 minutes. He goes, nah, you're good. But it's like, fuck me, dude.
Yeah.
If that's me, I'm not going to argue just because I've been trained not to argue.
Same.
If you're out, I'm going to walk off the field. But how many times that happened?
Oh yeah.
Stroh just argued it because Stroh's fucking argumentative. So he's gonna be like, fuck it, I'm gonna argue this call. But guess what? He was right and he wasn't hit.
Yeah.
But the Hayden and the other kids weren't hit either, and they got pulled off just because the players, because what it is, the refs didn't want to go in and check them. They want to just call them out. And it's like, from where? Shane got called out from going over top the brick, shooting, getting back down. They shot the brick and it was like sprayed. Yeah. And she told Shane, you're out. He's like, where? He's like, your hopper. He looks, he's like, nothing on my hopper. He's like, you're out. Get off the field. He's like, okay. So he walks off and he's like, where the fuck am I hit at, dude? Nothing on him. It's like they're seeing a spray in the bunkers or spray, and they're like, you're out. It's like, okay, well, it's gonna leave. So I do understand. Sometimes people will get glanced and shot, and it'll leave just a line. I have seen that. But does it happen 17, 18 times versus the same team? Probably not. That doesn't happen like that. So you got to go in. You got to check a little bit. You got to get a shot. I know it fucking sucks. But when I ref at practice, I run in. I check people. It is what it is. That's just – but if I was shooting somebody and I wanted a paint check, I would want somebody to go in and check somebody. Like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? So
at least at a turn. I mean, I don't check – when I ref at practice, I get a good look. I don't ever go in. Very rarely do I go in, I should say. There's been a few times I do, when we're having like a scrimmage and people are being shifty, and I'm like, fuck, I got to get in here and either check my own guys real good or check the other team really good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's my only complaint is the reffing. And it's like you said, it's just small stuff like that. It's not like the calls themselves.
I wish the paint was better too.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with this paint. It wasn't bad.
Well, I didn't have a problem with it, but it was like on the edge of like,
yeah,
we had a couple paint issues, like getting jammed in the hopper, and then we pull the paint out and it's like super swollen, or a flat ball. It's like,
yeah,
but the paint we're shooting isn't like name brand paint. It's like Ching Tong Chang paint. Like we're shooting, like last time we shot Iron Man paint. I'm like, the pro team has their own paint. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then this time we shot Team Colors, which a lot of you guys might think of Team Colors back in the day, Team Colors, which you probably don't remember that.
I remember. I've heard of it with your dad.
Back in the day, there used to be a paint called 32 Degrees, and they'd make paint, and they had Team Colors, and that used to be fucking money. I used to work my dick off Saturday so I can shoot a case of Dad's Team Colors. It was like high-end paint, but that paint shot money. So when this paint is called Team Colors, it's not the same. It's like
you were all excited probably at first, like, fuck yeah.
Oh, I'm like, dude, I haven't seen this paint in 20 fucking years. Not the same.
That is fucking funny.
Bitch. So
let's talk about these bunker stakes real quick. What is going on? So that could have been you last CPSL.
That definitely could have been me if I didn't have my padding on. Now this guy had his padding on too, but I hit him in the hand and not the arm.
Yeah.
But they're using these fucking
you say like mushroom headed?
They're like Jesus crucifix stakes. They're literally like gigantic nails that are like a foot long. That go in the ground, but then to hold the stake or hold the bungee, they put like a 3-inch or 4-inch washer through the nail, and that goes in the ground. Well, it's metal. It's a metal washer on a metal head, and it's literally like a crucifix fucking nail. That's how big it is. So first event, I was diving at 300 all day long. When the top field, I dove in. I felt something hit my arm. I'm like, God damn. I lean back and I play I look over, and my entire jersey from wrist all the way down to the middle of the forearm is like sliced. And I have my carbon top on below that, which is like built-in elbow pads. That is sliced all the way down. And my arm hurts. I'm like, fuck. Play the rest of the point. We win. I walk off. I'm looking at the ground. I'm looking. I see that stake. And I walk right to the ref. I'm like, Dan, we got to fix this, man. He's like, okay, I got you. And he drills it into the ground, and you just no more. Well, this event, it's a different field, obviously. Somebody happened to dive in and slide and hit the same stake I did, but they didn't hit it on their pad. They hit it on their hand, and it literally sliced his hand all the way down from the top of his thumb, all of the fat meat of his below your thumb, all the way open to the bone, deep down. And he went straight to the ER for it. Insane.
Yeah, he
That's the
probably
same
won't
stake.
have the same movement out of that thumb because
No,
the
no,
way
no,
that
for
went
sure.
through. Gosh dang. I saw those pictures, like Wes said, literally if you looked at your hand and you went just to like the inside of your hand, like from your thumb, and went straight down from there, that's basically where it sliced. Like
Oh
for
yeah,
those of y'all that
all
are
of it,
just listening.
all the way
And it
down.
was, I mean, you see your hand's pretty thick. It was to the bone. Like that's one of the more we've talked about paintball injuries before.
Yeah, that's
Other than
top.
people like breaking ankles,
Yeah,
that's up there. I mean, I've seen people pull their shoulder out of socket, but a lot of times they stand up or walk off the field, they're good. And blown out knees, but that's like a top three. That's
it was bad.
I don't know. Like I showed my dad, he was like, they're gonna have to do something to not put stakes on the field. I'm like, but you gotta stake the bunker down. I mean, you could do sandbags or something like that, but places do that and it just doesn't seem like it works.
No, I just use normal stakes. Like they got
Yeah,
stakes, you know what I mean?
yeah. And if you can use the plastic ones, I guess use them if you can. But a lot of those things are fucking ass.
Yeah, they're ass.
But yeah, I don't know. I knew that would be after we talk CPSL, that would be a little short topic to talk about.
God, that's so bad. I felt bad for that dude.
I do too. That's a like I said a very good bad paintball injury. What are you making that face for?
Well, I was just
You're
thinking
farting.
about, no, I think about that guy's arm. But then we actually played that team, and the bad thing was they only had 7 guys, and they had to pull 2 of their people. Or they had 8. Yeah, they had 8.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's the last team we played.
So yeah, so they had to pull a buddy who got hurt and the other guy, and then one of the guys on that team was an old VM member who we played against before, and they walked up and they said, "Hey, we only have 6 guys. If we need a timeout, do you mind giving us your timeout?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's not a problem, man." Well, we were gonna give them the timeout if they needed it, make it as fair as we could, but we beat the fucking brakes off of them. So we're up 3-0. And we walk by and the guy's like, "Hey man, don't worry about that timeout. We're just gonna run this last point." I'm like, all right, buddy, cool.
So, like, we would have gave it to you, dog.
Yeah, you could have had we were talking to him and like, we would have gave it to you. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think we would have needed it. Like, it's all good." Like, so
that's funny. So I got one more little thing here before we take this out because we're on a little bit of a longer one tonight. So April 27th, they did an update for that book I bought 48 fucking years ago.
I heard about the introduction of that book on the Maddie Marshall podcast. The Maddie Marshall podcast, he brings it up on there.
Yes.
Because I think he took some of those pictures or something.
I think he took and he maybe did some of the
editing or something.
Or the writing portion of some of like there's not much writing, but he did something with it. But they are printed and they are shipping from South Korea back to here. So once they get them, they expect to have them. I read this real fast earlier. Before the end of May. So they should all be shipping soon. So when that gets in, I remember I bought 2 of them. One to like
off the table
and one to tuck away and hide. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll have that. I'll let you get some good looks at that. I'm sure everyone at the field will be interested in that too, because that'd be a fun, cool thing. But that's all I had. Did you have anything, sir?
That's it, really. We can talk about Philly next podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about Philly next.
Coming up, yeah. So
you're going to that. Are you going to Bunker Fest too?
I don't think I can make Bunker Fest because I have MVPS the week prior to Philly. So to go to Bunker Fest, then come back, then go to MVPS, and then go to Philly, we're already stretching it a bit much. I already canceled my D-Day plans because it was on Bunker Fest, but also I had the MVPS and Philly are literally back-to-back weekends. So that's already going to be a bitch as it is.
Just go to Bunker Fest.
I know.
Cut the MVPS out.
Say what?
Cut the MVPS out. We're doing better in the CPSL, so just...
Well, we only played one fucking MVPS, so who knows?
That's true, I guess. And we actually did decent at that one, but...
Yeah, we moved on, so...
Fair. Yeah, that one was shitty. That tournament will sting for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, I'll take us out of here then. So thanks for listening, watching, buying merch. We sold like not a lot of t-shirts, but like it's still crazy when people buy like a random shirt. It like completely cracks me up. I just cashed out today, so thanks for that one. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Later.